Coffee Talk is sponsored by Blazing Bagels. You'll be a hit when you stop on your way to work to get a dozen for the office. Located on the corner of North Commerce and Wise Roads in Commerce Township, Blazing Bagels features New York-style bagels and always fresh coffee. Stop by for one of their bagel sandwiches at lunch with a steaming cup of coffee, cappuccino, or hot chocolate. Thanks to Matt and the staff at Blazing Bagels for supporting Coffee Talk on HVS-TV.
Good afternoon and welcome to Coffee Talk. Our segment today is going to be dealing with two related but somewhat different topics. The first is cyberbullying, and the second topic is internet safety and internet crimes and internet predators. So with that, we're going to be kind of going back and forth. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce our Lakeland counselors and our very special guest for the evening. I'm Lynn Burton. I'm one of the counselors at Lakeland.
I'm Tamara DiLorenzo. I'm also a counselor here at Lakeland for students with last names F through K.
I'm Jenny Alfano. I am the interim counselor for Christina Lindberg. She will be back from her maternity leave November 1st, and our caseload is students with the last name R-O through Z.
And I'm Mr. Doherty, counselor, last name L through R-I.
And our guest this evening, or this afternoon, sorry, is Detective Sergeant Joe Bryan. Detective Bryan is with the Computer Crimes Unit with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department. He has over 16 years experience in law enforcement, and additionally 6 years of that has been in the Computer Crimes Unit. He's got quite a vast experience and to share with us today. Before we go on further, I wanted to just share a definition of bullying and to get a sense of what we mean when we're talking about bullying. There's a big difference between teasing and bullying, but many, many times those things are crossed over. From the, and I want to make sure I get this right, Teaching Tolerance Program, which is through the Southern Poverty Law Center. They define bullying as something that happens when someone is subjected to negative actions from one or more people and has a hard time defending himself or herself. Bullying takes various forms, including teasing, taunting, or verbal abuse, punching, shoving, and physical acts, spreading rumors, excluding someone from a group, ganging up on others. There's lots of ways that this can occur. One of the things we're talking about today is going to be cyberbullying and how this might occur using electronic formats, which has become more and more prevalent. When we're talking about cyberbullying, and Detective, is there anything that your division typically is aware of with cyberbullying? Do you deal with that, or if so, how would that come to you?
Majority of the time it's handled at the school level. Well, the school resource officer and the school work together. If it gets dangerous enough, or if it's enough of a profile case, then it comes down to where we're at. Right now, 99% of them are all handled at the school level. We personally, the Computer Crimes Unit, do not get involved in them unless we're going to be analyzing a computer or the cell phone involved.
Okay, so some of your role might be doing the analysis of the technology.
Correct.
Okay. What might be some of the consequences that would come through if there was a case of cyberbullying?
Depends on what the actions were. It could be just simple threats, harassment charge, like a misdemeanor. A more common one is unlawful posting of a message, which is a 2-year felony. Using a computer to commit a crime, which can be anywhere from a 2 to a 20-year felony. And then also communicating with another to commit a crime, which could be a 2 to a 20-year felony. It all depends on the severity of the case, all the elements that transpired there. It could just be something that school handles, or it could be charged with juvenile. It all depends. Every case is different.
When a student is accused of bullying and the school is involved in it, can you tell us what the rights are of the school regarding property or things done at the school level? What is the school's rights?
You know, I don't know for certain because every school is different. Usually the students have to sign some type of code of or an agreement policy or something to that effect.
Yes.
I think
Correct.
ours is a technology agreement.
And there's also code of conduct.
And it's probably covered in the code of conduct. I'd imagine that the teachers or the staff have the right to go through the student's property, I'm assuming. I know most of the schools are like that. So if the staff thinks there's something they need to get out of a backpack, they have every right to go into that backpack. As a law enforcement officer, I'm not without a search warrant, but if the school goes through it, discovers something, then turns it over to me, that's a different story. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think sometimes kids think when they bring things to school, their backpack is theirs, and
as far as I know, if it's on school property, it's subject to be searched, just like their vehicles.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the rights of the school personnel, because we do have, we are entrusted with the care of the students, tend to supersede essentially what the police department can do. Then when we turn over to you, at that point, those issues become yours, and
Yes.
you can handle them.
Yep.
Some of the concerns that parents might have is if a child is involved in bullying and cyberbullying or in any kind of act that they're acting upon another person, where's the parent's liability in that? Are you aware of how that might be involved?
Well, the short answer is the parents are ultimately responsible for their child's actions. Depends on what township or city you live in. Most townships have like a parental responsibility type of ordinance where the parents can be charged for neglecting to take care of what their kids are doing if they're aware of it. In the end, if there's any type of a case where it's been adjudicated court and there's going to be court costs coming down, parents are going to pay for it. And if using a computer to commit a crime is one of the charges, it's up to the judge, but the judge can order the defendant, or in the case of the parent, to pay back monetarily to the sheriff's office or to the local police department for any and all hours spent on the investigation. So it can get pricey. I mean, it can get, $3,000 is nothing. Usually about 10 grand is usually our bill. And the parents are going to be responsible to pay that back.
So if the machines do go to you to be analyzed at that point, the bills can be as high as $10,000?
Possibly. Yep, it's up to the judge.
Okay, that's interesting.
So, Detective, have you found in your experience that the parents are generally aware of these things going on, or do they usually are unaware of?
They're usually unaware. I mean, it's whenever we notify a parent what their kid's been doing, they're generally shocked, surprised. The problem with cyberbullying is that the kid can be doing it privacy of his bedroom and on a laptop, totally anonymous if he or she wants to be, and there's no signs. They're not coming home with scarred knuckles or anything like that. So it's hard for parents to know their kid's involved doing something like that.
What kind of, and I know we've all heard lately in the media, there's been to the extreme of suicides that teenagers, victims of cyberbullying, what kind of repercussions are there for these cyberbullies? And, do you have any experience with lots of evidence, a certain case leading up to such severity?
I'm not aware of any suicides.
Okay.
As far as that. Like I said, most of the ones are all handled. If they come to me, it's usually a bigger deal.
Right.
And I don't remember the last time I had a cyberbullying case with me.
Okay.
Like I said, usually they're handled by the school or the school resource officer,
Okay.
or the local police department usually handles them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not aware of any suicides that we've had that were a direct result of cyberbullying in Oakland County.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean there hasn't been. I'm just not aware of
Mm-hmm.
any.
Maybe you can help answer, this is the second part of my question.
Okay.
If there is a case where there is a lot of cyberbullying and an individual would harm themselves, what kind of repercussions can the bully face?
It would be up to the prosecutor in the end. I would think it could be like a manslaughter charge, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I mean, you're coaxing somebody into doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just on that, I can't make it.
Mhm.
I can't say. But
Mhm.
there's got to be a whole bunch of evidence on them
Right.
actually pushing this kid over the edge.
Which brings us to, if a parent is aware that their child is being bullied and things are coming to them, what kind of things should the parents be doing to document this? I know my first inclination is always to hit delete when there's something I don't want
Right.
to see.
Right.
What should parents be doing in order to correctly document and make sure they're contacting the right people, be it cyberbullying or, as we'll talk about later, predators, internet predators?
If it's like a chat, like an instant message, or on a blog, or even a tweet, or whatever, the different types of social networking out there that kids communicate on, at the very least, if you can't figure out how to save it on there, just take a picture with a digital camera. We have to have something. Because with the instant messaging, it's so fast, and if a kid creates a screen name, he could dump that screen name, and we might not be able to find out who actually owned that screen name. So we need to know who's communicating. We need to know dates and times. If you actually just Google how to save something, like a Yahoo chat, it'll show you how to walk you through the steps. There are so many different instant message clients out there, it's impossible for me to go through the myriad of them all, how to do it. But quite often, if you just hit print screen, and then if you go to a Microsoft Word document, right-click, hit paste, it'll throw that right in there, and you can save it as a Word document.
Okay.
We just need something.
If there is something where they're concerned, obviously if they're calling the school, that's one thing. If it doesn't have anything to do with school, it's an entirely separate issue, it's not being brought in, it might be from someone who's not even from the same school,
Right.
What might be a recourse parents can have?
The first step is to be talk to your kid and see what's going on. When did this start? You know, is the kid really bothered by it, or are you as a parent more offended by it than what the kid is? It may be something as simple as you hopping on there saying, this is mom or dad, back off, don't bother my kid anymore. And that may end it right there. If it's more serious and you can tell it's really affecting the kid, school grades are going down, not hanging out with his friends, things like that, then definitely contact law enforcement. At the very least, we can document it and possibly ID who the other person is. But don't just jump to the conclusion like I call 911 because somebody, called my kid a name. Mm-hmm. When you don't know that your kid already called that other kid 5 names. So use common sense, and you just gotta have an open line of communication with your kid.
So the first step would be ask questions of your child.
Yes.
Take a look ask them about a history, have a discussion with them about what's been going on, what might be behind it, and then if it's appropriate, make sure you do save whatever is
save something.
there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. One of the things that we'll be doing at the tail end of the show, or the video, is posting online on both the Lakeland High School website and then also with the video, websites for parents to purchase software so that you can track what is on your child's computer and on the cell phones, which, if there is an instance, will help law enforcement officials, school officials, and anyone else. It's very user-friendly. It's not terribly expensive. I do have a number of sites that have been recommended by people who are using them, by parents who have been using them successfully, and they said that it really is something that has helped. History doesn't get erased. Different kind of.
Yeah, to add on that, a lot of people think because of a lot of a high-profile case where text messages were brought in recently, most of the companies, the carriers, do not store text messages anymore. And the reason is it's too much data for them to store, and they don't want to be responsible for storing it. So a lot of them, once you hit delete on your phone, that's gone. Not gonna get it back. So if you have a bunch on your phone, do not delete them, and you could actually just take pictures of them if you want. But yeah, it's retaining that data for us, because without proof, it's he said, she said, and we need something a little more concrete than that.
So software that parents could put on cell phones for their teens, and children?
Possibly, as far as spying on the kids, basically we're.
Well, you can call it spying, I guess.
I mean, I see nothing wrong with it, no. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's stuff on for phones. I'm assuming there is.
Yeah.
But for computers, there definitely is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So monitoring what's going on, being able to track it, being able to go back and look to make
Yes.
sure that things are safe.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Good. I'll go on too. One of the other things that a lot of parents talk about, and I know it's a balancing act as a parent, and I think this came up because spying on your kids,
Sure.
is there's a level of responsibility a parent has to keep their child safe, and at the same time you try and make sure that there's, especially as they grow up, a certain amount of privacy that they have as individuals. It's tough for parents to know how that is, and I guess I'd like a law enforcement take on where you are with it. What do parents need to be doing?
Well, it's coming from a cop's perspective. I see nothing wrong with spying on the kids. I mean, I really don't. A lot of kids will have a Facebook page that you know about, and they may have another Facebook page that you don't know about. So they'll show you their Facebook page that's all, bland, nothing pops out. Then they have another one that's got all the good stuff on there, the stuff where they do most of their chatting with, especially if they give you the password. You can go on there and check anytime you want, Mom. Well, unless the kid's just a complete angel, which there's not too many angels out there, they probably have something else, like another Facebook page or a MySpace page they're doing most of their communication on. If you're paying the bills and you bought the computer, you're not exactly picking the lock of a diary, but you're coming close, but I still don't see anything wrong with it. And it's for the kid's safety, because the kid may be talking to somebody who they think they trust, their friend, who they've been friends with for a year but have never met in person, and all of a sudden the talk goes from talking about soccer to some other graphic stuff. You want to be able to know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So I see nothing wrong with it. I'd monitor or spy, whatever term you would want to use, like crazy.
Which is a perfect segue into internet safety.
Well, I was just going to mention as well, I would think it'd be pretty common for a teenager to find themselves in a situation where they don't necessarily know how to handle it, or where they may realize they're getting into trouble with something but not know who to turn to or what to do. So I think communication's also a big factor with respect to parents and kids, as far as what their expectations are for internet usage at home, and what you're going to expect of them, what level of privacy they're going to have, and what they're not going to put up with, I guess.
Setting guidelines and very simple discussions to say, this is my job. I'm your parent. My job is to make sure you're safe and you grow up so you can say the same thing to your own children someday. And as that, I'm going to be taking a look at what you're doing, because I take my job very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. If the kid blows the trust by hopping on in the middle of the night, well, you're the parent. Yank the computer out of the house. You're still the parent. You can set all the guidelines up you want, but if you give the computer to the kid and the kid's got to do homework at night, and then it runs in at 10 o'clock and you go to bed, there's no way you're going to know if that kid's online at 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, mm-hmm. unless you take the computer out of the house. And it's very easy for me to sit here and say, set guidelines up where Junior pops on at 4 o'clock, does his homework, and by 6 o'clock, computer's done for the night. Well, the problem is a lot of adults, two-income families or whatever, somebody might not be around. Maybe they got to work an afternoon shift. So in the end, maybe just throwing that software on there and keep an eye on that way is your best bet, because you're not going to stop them. Mm-hmm. If you say you yank the computer out of their house and they get it when you get home at 8 o'clock, they can go to the library and do it. They can go to their friend's house and do it. So, but when you say the communication, that's the biggest thing, keeping that open line of communication with your kid.
And letting them know.
That's number one.
One of the things that kids tend to do is believe that if they post something online, if they send a picture to a friend, if they put something and they delete it, it's gone. How does that work when they're putting something online?
It's World Wide Web. It's going to be there forever. I mean, unless you take the picture yourself, look at it, delete it, and then smash that little memory card up, there's no way you can't call something back. And if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, and the girlfriend sends a nude picture of herself to her boyfriend, which happens every day across every high school in America, well, a week later, that boyfriend's going to break up with the girlfriend, or the girlfriend breaks up with the boyfriend, and then he's got a picture of the ex nude. He's going to show his buddies. He's going to send them to his buddies. And then now that girl's ruined. I mean, it's common sense, but the kids don't get it. They live for the minute right now, mm-hmm. and they do, it'd be different if the girl flashed the kid, it's gone. But when she takes a picture of it and sends it out on the wire, you can't get it back.
So essentially, if you're going to post something online, make it something that your grandma look at?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Have the grammar rule going on.
Yeah.
If you're going to post it online, make sure it's something your grandmother could see.
Your grandmother, your future boss, anybody, because it's out there.
Okay. Good rule to follow. One of the things we had asked you to talk about today while you were here is some instances to help parents understand, and in particular, a situation where maybe a child who nobody thought would get duped by an internet predator might have been drawn in by someone. Do you have circumstances you can help us understand and parents understand so that they can see how some of these predators may work?
I'll give you a real perfect example of it. A social girl, not a loner, popular, everything else. She was online. A guy sent her an instant message, and he said that he hacked into her computer. And she didn't believe him. He sent her a picture, and in the picture was the virus that then actually hacked into her computer. So for the next year, this guy knew when she was online, knew when she changed her passwords, had her passwords for her MySpace page, knew what music she was listening to on her computer. I mean, he had everything. And he owned her. And this was a girl that you never would think would fall for something like that, but all she did was just open a picture up. And in the computer was documents relating to her parents' business, and he was going to leak that out. So it all started, with a picture of her breasts, and then it progressed from there. And you would never think. And this girl didn't tell anybody, because she was mortified that she'd get in trouble from her parents. And that's what you got to make sure your kids know. Hey, if you screw up, still let me know before it gets too deep. Because this went on for a year, practically ruined the girl.
In that situation, you talk about a girl who was popular and social and someone that may not be typical, that a predator would look for. Can you tell us, in a more of a generalization, the type of person that a predator might look for?
Somebody that doesn't quite fit into the accepted social norm of what the kids have deemed to be the norm for high school. Somebody might get picked on. Somebody doesn't have a whole lot of friends, not in sports. Just somebody does their own, marches to their own drum over there. That's the person that they're going to go after. The person that their parents aren't involved. It's a single parent family, and mom or dad's got to work late, so the kid's home alone, and the kids get bored, so they hop on the net and they start going to chat rooms, and this guy, goes after him or her. And it just starts off just with they're giving this kid who's not getting any attention all the attention they want. They'll send them gifts in the mail because mom works afternoon, so mail gets there around 4 o'clock, so they'll send them stuff in the mail. They'll send them money. They'll send them cell phones. Is very common these days, because if you send them a cell phone, they can hear the real girl talk, take pictures and send them to each other, text at all hours. That's who they generally focus on. They don't focus on the social butterfly, because that person's got friends who are going to talk to friends. Eventually, it's going to get out to a parent who's going to backtrack it to the girl's parent, and it goes downhill for the bad guy.
What are some of the initial overtures from someone? What do they look like? If parents are seeing things online, even with open communication, I'll honestly tell you, I wouldn't know what I was looking at if it looked like it came from another kid.
What do you mean? What does it look like?
Some of the initial things that might be used by online predators to contact students. What are some of the opening lines?
Just as any kid would talk to any kid. There's no, obviously they don't say, hey, I'm a predator.
That'd be a little strange.
Yeah, it'd be easy for me. Just, ASL, age, sex, location. Hi, I'm, so-and-so. They usually start off by saying that they're approximately the same age as a kid, and as time goes on, more truths come out. They start off with they're being 15. I lied, I'm actually 19. And then after 3 or 4 months, when the relationship has progressed to an online boyfriend-girlfriend, just to let you know I'm really 35. So, but to starting off, they don't usually start right off saying, hey, can you meet me for X? They take their time. Time's on their side, and they might have 10 or 15 kids they're working at one time. And if they get one, that's all they need.
Wow, that's scary.
That's scary. And you had mentioned off camera before we taped that sometimes that is enough for a predator not to meet them. It's enough to try and get the child to send them pictures and just do things electronically.
Absolutely. Especially if someone doesn't have, a lot of times the guys will say, if they're out of state, they'll say they're going to fly you down, or the kid down, or they're going to fly up and meet. And it goes on and on and on and on, and all they're doing is they're actually just, watch my language here, their satisfaction comes just with the talking, and the talking about the activities that can transpire if they did meet. But they'll never meet. A lot of them won't.
without crossing lines in how your division works, what do parents need to do? And I'm going to go back from the cyberbullying also. What are the things parents need to be very careful to provide for you if they become aware that something is going on, or even have a concern that something's going on with their children?
Same thing we talked about before, is saving everything. Anything that you can save, save. If it's as little as a screen name or an email address. Dates and times are extremely crucial for us. And then the print off of what they were talking about, or just to save the chat, or as many chats as you can. If it's their Facebook, just save it. And you know, the problem is a lot of times these kids, they've been talking with this guy or girl, once a girl, usually guys, for 4 or 5 months, and they actually might trust this person more than they trust their parent, or they fear them more than their parent. So once we get involved, the kid may contact the bad guy and say, hey, mom and dad called the cops, and then he's in the wind and not much we can do. So it's making sure the kid knows that he or she is safe.
Do threats tend to come through from some of the predators
All
if
the
they
time.
get further on? What kind of things do they say?
Anything from, I'm not going to talk to you because this is your world, I'm your world, to can hurt your family. If you send me pictures, I'm going to be sending these pictures out to everybody in your buddy list. I'm going to send them what we've been chatting about, just anything and everything.
So another.
Because most of the time the kids they may have on their Facebook page not their home address, but then they may have a link to their instant message. You can go on their buddy profile. You see they go to Lakeland High School, and it's got a picture of them, and then you can find out that maybe they play soccer. And if these guys, they'll spend hours and hours and hours on one kid building up a profile of them, so they'll know roughly where he or she lives. If the kid actually gave them the last name, you can hop on Zaba Search or Google or a myriad of other programs that are free to find out possible mom and dad's names, especially if they gave the address. So these guys actually know enough to, hey, I'm going to tell your parents about us. So yeah, threats are very common. Followed up by I love you within about a couple days.
Wow. So one of the other things that needs to go on with the conversations with the kids is if someone says they're going to do something, it's okay, you still need to talk to me.
Absolutely.
I can handle it, I'm the adult, you need to communicate with me. Doesn't matter what they say they're going to do, I can't help you unless I know, and you don't need to protect me, I need to protect you.
Absolutely.
Which is a parent's message.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Other things?
Do you want to see if anyone has any questions? Okay.
Are there any questions from folks that are here? No questions.
You said at the very beginning how some of for the bullying, if it gets so far as to the laws involved and what kind of misdemeanors and felonies, could you do that again? Because I think a lot, if ever we run into a bullying, we say no.
Okay, the question basically is what types of laws are they facing?
Yeah.
For bullying, cyberbullying, and all that. It can be everything from a threats harassment charge, unlawful posting of a message, and what very common with that unlawful posting of a message is, to break it down so everybody understands it. If a kid creates a MySpace or a Facebook profile of another kid and puts that kid in bad light, like a lot will say that I'm homosexual, I like this, I like that. So in essence, the kid's going to get picked on at school by a third party. Then that is in itself that's the 2-year felony. Using a computer to commit the crime would make it another 2-year felony. And if the kids are all working in conjunction against another kid, it could also be communicating with another to commit a felony. So in the end, the kid could have 3 or 4 charges easily against him. And he might be 14.
I have a question that's relevant just to Oakland County in general. Approximately, and I know you'll never know the exact number, but how many predators do you come across? Is it a couple a week, or is it, what do these numbers?
I can't quantify it, because a lot of the problem is I may get 3 or 4 phone calls a week or from other cops in other areas saying that little Susie got contacted by a guy last night and he wanted her to do X. Who knows where that guy's coming from? The guy could be in Pittsburgh. So I don't know how many. There's no way of knowing how many are.
But it's constant.
It's constant. Yeah, it's mind blowing how many are out there. Yes.
So people are, again, to reiterate, people are contacting our kids on an ongoing basis,
Sure.
whether we're aware of it
Absolutely.
or not.
Yep.
Which
And the thing is that, I mean, a predator could be taking on a persona, of another kid. If it's a 15-year-old boy, he could take on a persona of a 17-year-old girl who was good looking in the pictures and starts getting this kid to do stuff, maybe on a webcam or pictures and send them to, and it ends up being a 55-year-old guy living out in Seattle. You don't know who you're talking to.
That sounded like the voice of experience just now.
Yeah, maybe. It's a sick world.
Okay, and which brings me to the point where I think I'm going to be purchasing software and put it on every computer around me at
There you
this
go.
point to monitor what's going on, just to keep my grandchildren safe right now. All right, well, thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? Yes, please.
I wondered what the school's protocol is in handling bullying when it's apparent that it's taking place at the school, whether it's online or whether it's a combination of online and in classroom and school and so forth.
Actually, very similar to the police department, we document. We do ask our students to sit down and give us written statements. If it's something that's happened outside of school and there's been witnesses, we ask parents to collect written statements. If their students have witnessed things in school, we ask for that, and we, the administrators, interview anyone that might have been around. We ask kids who was there, because we need your help. Those are interviewed, statements are taken there. They work with our liaison officer, Detective Simsack, in following up. In Lakeland, I can directly talk about that. In the other schools, very similar processes are handled. We take this very seriously, which is why this topic is here tonight, and that it's our job to keep our kids safe, to give them a place that they can come to have an education without having to worry about being picked on. I can't promise you, none of us can promise you that we're going to be 100% able to do that, because sometimes we don't see what's going on. We work with our teachers. It's actually, the counselors are going to be working with teachers in conjunction with administrators this year on how else to help our students talk to us and let us know what's going on. So to answer your question, with as much diligence as we can possibly manage, follow through, and one of the things the kids need to do and parents need to do is help us document, just as if you were dealing with the sheriff's department, the local police department, or anyone. That gives us something else to use. And again, most of the time parents of the kids who are doing the bullying are very surprised and work with us. They don't want this to happen. So did you guys have anything to add that I know I'm doing a lot of talking here, so. No? Okay. Any other questions before we wrap up? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Detective Bryan. And we look forward to having other information. If parents have questions about process, about what goes on, if you are looking for references for internet sites, for other things that you can do in order to do some more research on your own, we will be posting quite a lot of that following the video, and we will be posting those things onto our website. Mr. Doherty handles our website.
Speaking of social networking, we also have our own Facebook page, which we monitor very closely, and we hope to model good social networking on that site. But we post everything on our website and on our Facebook page as well. So if you just search Lakeland High School Counselors, you'll find us.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Coffee and snacks for tonight's audience were provided by Blazing Bagels. Stop by for a hot cup of freshly brewed coffee in your choice of flavors or grounds. Don't forget to grab one of their New York-style bagels or bagel sandwiches. Blazing Bagels, located on the corner of North Commerce and Wise Roads in Commerce.